Hey everyone, I have an update video for a Vanguard deck, and this time it is going to be on Greedon. Yeah, he actually got a few new cards in the first set for DivineZ, and it kind of does change the deck very significantly, as we're not even running the mask version cards anymore. So, let's start. Of course, the ride line for Greedon is pretty obvious by this point. We got the Desire Devil starter in Taida. Yeah, there he is. Of course, then we got the grade 1 in Gomon. His effects are when he is rode upon by a Bashoku, you reveal Greedon in your ride deck, and then you draw a card. And then his rearguard effect, which we can actually sometimes use, since he can be called out from Soul, will go over it. When this unit is put from rearguard into your Soul by your Vanguard's ability, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you counterblast 1 until the end of turn. When your opponent would call cards from hand to Guardian Circle, they must call 2 or more at the same time. So it gives you a guard restrict, pretty much. And then we got Bashoku, whose effects are when this is rode upon by Greedon, you put a card from your hand into your Soul. Search deck for a card with the same name as this card, in other words, another Bashoku. And then you add it to your hand, and then you shuffle your deck. And then it has a in Soul effect. During your turn, if your damage zone has 4 more, essentially a limit break effect, your Greedon on your Vanguard circle gets an extra 5,000 power. Pretty nice. And then, of course, we have Greedon himself. His first effect being, of course, if you have another copy of himself in your Soul, the total number of cards that you need to lose becomes 7 instead of 6. So essentially giving you 1 more bit of health just in case, which is pretty nice, and is the only deck in Standard that allows you to do that. And then his other effect is, of course, at the end of battle that this unit attacked, you Soul Blast 2, put 4 standing rear guards into your Soul, and then you restand him. And then if your Soul has 10 or more cards, this unit gets an extra 15,000 power. Very nice. Now, of course, onto the main deck, we've got, of course, 3 more copies of Greedon. We got 2 copies of this one. Doku-sen, he's like an elephant. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, choose up to 1 card with Greedon or Desire Devil in its card name from drop and put it into your Soul. If your Soul has a total of 4 more cards with Greedon or Desire Devil in their card names, this unit gets an extra 5,000 power. Very nice. This lets you get back some stuff that you might have Soul Blasted. The best thing you can do is if you discarded a Greedon for the going up through the ride deck, you can take that Greedon, put it into your Soul, and activate the first effect of Greedon right away. Of course, another way you can do that is with Bashoku's effect, but that gives you a few ways to trigger the first effect of Greedon without having to Persona Ride, which is pretty nice. And that's it for Doku-sen. Of course, we got 3 more copies of Bashoku. He is very important, as it helps you boost the power of your Greedon, which will be pretty much usually the only thing you'll be attacking with, except for maybe 1 other rearguard. And that rearguard is probably one of the best support pieces Greedon has ever gotten. This is Arakiri. Sorry about that. Arakiri. And I even got a silver rare version of that. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle during your main phase, Energy Blast 3, choose a unit card with Desire Devil in its different card name from this unit from your Soul, and then you call it out. So that gives you the ability to reuse a lot of the effects of the other Desire Devils. And then its effect on front row rear guard. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Greedon in its card name attacks, until the end of turn, that unit gets an extra 5,000 power. And if your damage zone has 4 more cards, aka limit break, this unit also gets 5,000 power. Very nice. We have Desire Devil Fujo. This was the horse from set 10. Yeah. When this unit is put from rear guard into soul by the ability of your Vanguard with Greedon in its card name, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and you may retire it. Soul, when your Vanguard with Greedon in its card name attacks, you combine this unit, and then until the end of that battle, when your opponent would call cards from their hand to the Guardian Circle, they must call 2 or more. Essentially the same effect as the grade 1 from the Ride line in Gomon, but for maybe a freer cost, although you do bind this, and that's 1 less card in Soul, and some of the effects in this deck want you to have a high amount of Soul. So use that if you feel like it. We have 4 copies of Desire Devil Bobetsu. This is one of the cards that lets you get 3 Vanguard attacks with Greedon, along with a few others. Anyway, this is Bobetsu. When your other rear guard is put into soul by your Vanguard's ability during your turn, you counterblast 1. Choose a card from your hand. Call it to an open rear guard circle, and if your soul has 10 or more cards, you draw a card. So again, that can give you more cards in order to play on the field, so you can use Greedon's effect again as it's not once per turn. However, it can also give you another attack if you don't have enough for the restand of Greedon for a second time. And it also gets you a draw if you have 10 or more cards in Soul. Next up, we have another of the new cards. This is Desire Devil Goju, or yeah, it's Goju. It's like a armadillo or something. When this unit is put into Soul from rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Greedon in its card name, Energy Blast 3 and put this card back into hand. So essentially, you get him back. Well, not essentially, that is what happens. You get him back, and you get the chance to reuse him, maybe even call him off of Bobetsu or something else. And then he has an effect on Guardian Circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Greedon in its card name and your damage zone has 4 more cards, aka Limit Break, this unit gets an extra 5,000 shield, essentially well, again, not essentially, I keep using that word a lot when it's really what it means completely. He gets an extra 5,000 shield, making him a 10k shield. Next up, we actually have the promo for Greedon that I actually managed to get. This is Desire Devil Heiku. Soul, he has only an effect in Soul. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Greedon in its card name attacks, bind another copy of himself from Soul face up, and then you can call this card to rear guard, or to a back row rear guard. Again, gives you more ways to activate Greedon's restand effect a second time, giving you 3 attacks with Greedon. Then we have Desire Devil Kusavogi. He's like a crocodile or an alligator. When this unit is put into Soul from Rearguard Circle by the ability of Greedon, if you did not countercharge this turn, you countercharge. This is actually one of the older Greedon cards that I actually didn't manage to get until now, so it's pretty nice that I have it now. I pretty much skipped out on it since it needed the original Greedon, and by the time I felt like picking this up, we had moved on to Greedon Mask, and I didn't really know if we were going to go back to the base form. So when I found out we were going back to the base form, I decided I'd pick these up finally. Anyway, he also has an effect in Soul when your rear guard is placed by a card's ability. If your Vanguard is Greedon and you have Limit Break, that called unit gets an extra 5,000 power. Very nice. Of course, to round off the deck, we have the Dark States Perfect Guards in 4 copies. Of course, you can always drop one for Elementarius Sanctitude if you have it. If not, just run 4 copies of any Dark States Perfect Guard you want. 4 of the non-effect triggers. Again, this can be any of the non-effect triggers that you, non-effect criticals that you want. It doesn't have to be that art specifically. 4 of the effect criticals. Of course, again, 4 copies of any of the heals that you want. They can be the effect heals. They can be any art for the heals of the non-effect heals that you want. Again, it's up to you. Then 3 of the effect draws. And then, of course, to round off the deck, we've got the Dark States Overtrigger. Again, you want to get this one as early as possible, as its effect is, during your turn, all of your Vanguards get an extra 10,000 power and a critical until the end of the fight. So this is the Overtrigger you want to see at the start. And that is it for Greedon's update for DivineZ. I hope you enjoyed this video.